Uh, we are discussing the crystal, actually, the crystal oscillator. The most stable oscillator is the crystal oscillator. Whatever is the other circuit we have discussed, the Colpit oscillator or Hartley oscillator, these oscillator circuits, we have seen that the frequency of oscillation of this oscillator is not fixed. That means duration for a particular duration of time, the frequency of oscillation will change slightly. It will vary. It is not constant because the circuit parameters, which is responsible for the frequency of oscillation, that actually changes. Okay, as well as you have the transistor. That transistor has some stray capacitances, junction capacitances, and that will affect the beta network capacitances. So in that way, that will change. That junction capacitance also depends on temperature. So temperature, if the temperature changes, the junction capacitance of the transistor changes, then the frequency of the oscillation will change. So this is the problem for the other type of circuits we have discussed. Not only the transistor, there is also stray capacitances in other circuit, other part of the circuit also. Okay, because these are the high frequency oscillators. So if the frequency is very high, then the stray capacitance or inductance comes into play. Okay, from the other part of the circuit, and that is the problem of these oscillators, that the frequency is not stable. Frequency will fluctuate, slightly changes. It will not stick to a particular value. That is the problem. So for a long duration of time, the frequency is not constant. It will change. But we need a very good stable oscillator, and that is why we have just earlier, just the last day, I have said that the crystal is the solution. The crystal is a quartz crystal, is the naturally obtained material. It can be used as a circuit element. Okay, you can use it as a circuit element. Why? Because if you press along some specific axis of the crystal, quartz crystal, if you give some stress, then along the perpendicular direction or along some specific axis, you will get some electrical voltage will be developed. Why this is so? It requires long discussions, but you can imagine that if you press the crystal, then the atomic structure will change, and that will actually remodify the electron distribution, and that actually produces some charges within the crystal across the perpendicular direction. So along the perpendicular direction to a specific axis, you will get some electrical voltage, and that is why this crystal has a unique property. This property is known as the piezoelectric effect, and we have discussed this thing last day, that the stress actually generates some potentials, electrical voltages across the crystal, as well as if you apply some potential, then stress will be developed in the other axis. That this property is known as the piezoelectric effect, and that is why this crystal can be utilized as a circuit element, just like the resistance, capacitance, and inductances. The mathematical model is there. There is a dynamical model is there, that actually from that mechanical model, that means the mechanics, that is a crystal has a mass, crystal has viscous force, and if you apply the Newtonian mechanics into that crystal dynamics, then from that differential equation, you will get the equivalent circuit of the crystal, and that equivalent circuit I have shown last day, that what will be the equivalent circuit. What is the equivalent circuit of the crystal? I have said that this is the crystal actually. We have discussed last day that this crystal here, this one, you can find it in the market that this is the crystal you can get. And there is a encapsulation. You can see that there is a encapsulation, and within the encapsulation you have this one. So this is the crystal. Actually, it is mounted over 2 electrodes. So you see that this is the crystal. This crystal is mounted, supported by 2 electrodes, because the voltage will be developed across the crystal, and that is the mounting electrode should be connected to that developing voltage side, and that is why you have a mount, electrical mount. And over this entire structure you have encapsulations just like this one. So this is the actual crystal structure. Within it you have a crystal. A specifically cut crystal is mounted between 2 electrodes, and that is encapsulated, and you will get this one in the market. The symbol of the crystal is like this one. So this is the symbol of the crystal. So in middle you have the dark portion. This dark portion is the crystal, and above the dark portion or below the dark portion you have the mounting electrodes, symbol of the mounting electrodes. So these are the parallel plates, mounting electrode plates are there. So this is the symbol of a crystal, and it is named as Xtal or the crystal. Okay, now this thing, I have said that there is a mechanical model of the dynamics of the crystal. When the crystal vibrate mechanically, then you can apply a Newtonian dynamics and obtain a mechanical differential equation. You can obtain a differential equation for the mechanical vibration of the crystal, just like the spring constant. In the higher secondary class, you have obtained the spring. You have learned the spring dynamics. How that what? X double dot plus k x square x double dot plus kx equal to some force. Okay, so this was the dynamics for the spring, vibrating spring. Similarly, when the crystal vibrates, then there you can apply some Newtonian mechanics and obtain a differential equation that will describe the vibration dynamics, mechanical vibration dynamics of the crystal. And from that differential equation, you can get this electrical equivalent circuit. Okay, because the mechanical vibration and the electrical LCR circuit, the LCR circuit also has a differential equation to describe the circuit, that are similar. From that resemblance, you can get this equivalent circuit. But our focus is only to what will be the equivalent circuit of the crystal. Just to see that what is the equivalent circuit of the crystal, we again discuss this one, that the equivalent circuit of the crystal is like this. So this portion of the circuit is responsible for the crystal. Okay, this is the crystal equivalent circuit, where you have a series inductance Ls, series capacitance Cs, and a series resistance Rs. So these are the three series LCR circuit. This is a LCR circuit which is responsible for the crystal. Mainly this is the in the dark portion of the middle, that we see this dark portion is mainly, that is a crystal mainly has this equivalent circuit LS, CS, RS. This is the series LCR circuit. And this one, this CM, which is parallel to the crystal, you see that it is parallel, it is connected parallelly. So it is parallel to the crystal structure or the crystal equivalent circuit, because this CM is the mounting electrode. Okay, I have said that the crystal is mounted over over the 2 electrode. You see that this is the crystal and it is mounted over 2 electrodes. So this is the mounted over mounting electrodes are there. Actually, this actually you can see this one clearly, that you can understand. So this dark portion is the crystal actually, but the crystal produces some electrical voltages. So across some axis, you have some electrical voltages will be generated by the crystal. To catch that electrical voltage, you need to connect some electrical connection should be connected. That means the crystal in which side the electrical voltage have been developed, you need to connect some electrodes. So these are the electrodes. It is connected to the crystal, and these electrodes actually, between these electrodes, a capacitance will be generated, or the capacitance will be generated, which is parallel to the crystal, because the electrode, mounting electrode, is actually across the crystal, so it should be parallel. Okay, so that is why this Cm is due to this mounting electrode that is parallel to the crystal, and that is why this crystal equivalent circuit. So this crystal equivalent circuit is actually you have a parallel capacitance should be there, and that capacitance is the mounting capacitance. So this is the entire equivalent circuit of this package. That means you in the market you will see this package, and this package has this equivalent circuit, and that is why this equivalent circuit will be considered for the crystal. So crystal as a circuit element means the crystal is connected to the circuit. That means this circuit actually functions. So in place of the crystal, actually within the crystal you have this equivalent circuit is there. This circuit actually working as a crystal. When the crystal performs, actually this circuit actually works. So this is the equivalent circuit, and this electrical circuit is actually works. So we will now analyze the circuit with respect to this equivalent circuit, because when you connect a crystal in a circuit, actually this equivalent circuit is responsible for the electrical activity which is equivalent to the crystal. Okay, so when we will analyze a circuit which have a crystal, we will replace the crystal by this equivalent circuit and analyze the circuit. So this is the process. We need to do little bit of more. It is not mentioned in this book, okay, but we have to do this thing, that how this circuit actually operate. Do you have the idea of the resonance? Have you learned this resonance in your class? Do you have the resonance? That means the LCR, series LCR circuit resonance, or the parallel circuit resonance. Have you learned this thing in the electrical class, AC analysis of the LCR circuit? Are you familiar with the resonance, resonating frequency?
Yes, sir. The resonance
Everyone,
frequency, in resonant
yeah,
frequency, the net impedance is equal to the resistance.
yeah, good. So it will be very helpful for me to analyze this crystal. Okay, first we will analyze the crystal. First you need to understand the crystal. Otherwise, you cannot understand the crystal oscillator. Okay, which is you are connecting the crystal in a oscillator circuit which is built with a transistor amplifier. Okay, actually this crystal element should be connected in the tank circuit or the beta network circuit. So we need to focus on this crystal little bit. I don't know whether I can do it in this mode or not. So you see, this is the crystal actually equivalent circuit, series LCR, and this circuit is familiar to you. Okay, so this series LCR circuit, the resonance occurs in this circuit. Okay, as your friend has said, that the resonance can occur in this circuit, and this resonance only for the AC analysis. Okay, if you apply DC, then nothing will happen, because this capacitor, through this capacitor, no DC current can flow. The circuit will not allow the current. So this can only happen, this circuit, this series LCR circuit is only this only actually perform the AC operation. Okay, when you apply the AC voltage source across the circuit, then the circuit actually respond to the AC. If you connect a DC battery across this LCR, suppose you have connected a DC battery here like this, okay, then this circuit will not allow any current through this capacitor, because the DC current cannot flow through the capacitor. So the circuit will be insensitive to the DC voltages applied. So no DC current will flow. So circuit will not perform anything. So the DC battery does not has to consume any power, electrical power. But if you connect a AC voltage, if you connect a AC voltage across this LCR, we are only discussing this part of the circuit, only this part. Okay, we are not discussing this part right now. Okay, so when you connect a AC voltage here, then what will happen? AC voltage means it has a frequency. So it will have some frequency. So this omega frequency, actually that is the AC part, that is frequency means you have a fluctuating electrical voltage source current. And you know that the capacitor allows us that fluctuating current and voltage through it, because the capacitor structure, you have a dielectric, and through dielectric, only the AC or the changing electric field produces current. So that is why this capacitor will only pass the AC current, not the DC current. And in AC, that means when you have connected a AC signal across this series LCR circuit, the circuit will respond to the AC voltages connected across it. And it has a resonance phenomena. What is the resonance phenomena? When the current flowing through it, the current actually flowing through the circuit is dependent on the frequency, this parameter of the AC source. If you change the frequency, what will happen? If you change the frequency, okay, the current, what will happen to the current? The current will increase. Current will increase, go to a peak value at resonant frequency, then current will decrease. If you change the frequency through this, change the frequency of this AC signal, and at which frequency the your current becomes current becomes maximum, that is the resonant frequency. We call it as, usually call it as omega 0, which is the resonant frequency. And in that frequency, the current is maximum, but the impedance will be minimum. And as your friend said, that impedance will be only the impedance of the resistance. These two impedance of the inductor and the capacitor will cancel each other at the resonant frequency. This will only happen at the resonant frequency. So if you tune this voltage source at the resonant frequency, maximum current will flow in this circuit, or the impedance across this circuit, this impedance across this circuit will be minimum, and which will be only resistive value RS. So this is the phenomena which is called the resonance. And you have learned this thing in the electrical analysis of the LCR circuit. So this crystal has this crystal package actually, that means the crystal mounted over two electrode has this equivalent circuit. One is the series LCR circuit in parallel with a mounting capacitor CM. That is why this crystal has a series LCR circuit as well as if there is a parallel LC circuit is also there. So this crystal has a two resonant frequencies. You know that for the parallel CR circuit, LC circuit, you have a also a resonant frequency. What happens to the parallel LC circuit? The current becomes minimum at the resonating frequency, and where the impedance becomes maximum. So that is opposite of the series resonant circuit. You have learned this thing in the electrical classes. So we will not discuss, but the main fact is that the crystal, due to this type of equivalent circuit, has a series resonant frequency as well as a parallel resonant frequency. What happens? We will discuss slightly in this we will discuss these things slightly. We assume that this resistance RS equal to 0. We assume for our analysis, because this resistance crystal has a very low resistance. So we assume that this resistance is 0. Okay. Then when the series resonance occurs, at the series resonance, you know that the impedance, if the RS equal to 0, then the impedance of this L and C What will be the impedance of this L and C? This impedance of this L and C equal to omega L plus, sorry, minus 1 by omega C. So this is the impedance. I am omitting this subscript actually. So this S subscript. Okay, but this L means LS and this C means CS actually. To make you understand that how this resonance actually occurs here and what is the formula. So omega L minus 1 by omega C. Why I am writing this one? Because the impedance of the inductor, you should have J omega L, and impedance of the capacitor should be equal to 1 by J omega C or minus J by omega C. That is why this J actually comes out of the bracket. So this is the total impedance. This is the total impedance of this inductor and this capacitor in series. Okay. So this is the total impedance. I hope that you can understand this one. So J into omega L minus J by omega C. This is the total impedance of this across LS and CS. As we have made this RS, assume that this RS equal to 0. Then what happens? When series resonance will occur, then the impedance will be minimum. Okay, that means this will become 0. At that condition, the series resonance will occur. As the RS equal to 0, if you don't make this RS equal to 0, then you have to, total impedance will be this plus R. So that was the total impedance. And to minimize this total impedance, what will happen? You know that this part will become 0, this J part will become 0, and only the resistive part will be there. So that is for the resonance condition, but we are omitting the resistance here. We are omitting the resistance because we have substituted RS equal to 0. We are assuming that RS equal to 0. Then what will be the series resonance condition? The impedance, total impedance then becomes J omega L minus J by omega C. That impedance should be equal to 0 because in the resonance series resonance condition, you have the J part equal to 0. The circuit becomes resistive and the impedance, that's why becomes minimum, and that is why this becomes 0. From this equation, you can conclude that what will be the omega, what will be that resonance frequency, what will be that series resonant frequency. If we call this series resonant frequency as omega S, then it will become, what will become, if you solve this one, then it will become 1 by root over L into C. So that is your series resonant frequency here. Okay. So this is the series resonant frequency will occur. So at series resonant frequency, this is the formula that omega S should be 1 by root over LC, where you can substitute the LS or CS here. So this is actually responsible for this inductor and capacitor connected, which is the equivalent inductors and capacitor of the crystal. So this is your series resonant frequency. Okay, so omega S equal to 1 by root over LS CS, where the impedance is minimum, and impedance is minimum as we have set RS equal to 0. So impedance equal to 0. So that as if this circuit actually becomes short circuited. For the at that frequency, this circuit becomes short circuited and current will flow, very high current will flow, and that the peak current will flow at that frequency, which is the series resonant frequency. So this is the series resonant frequency formula. Omega is equal to 1 by root over LSCS. I hope that if you have the prior idea of the series resonance, from that we can say that this is the series resonant frequency. At the series resonant frequency, maximum currents actually flow. If you set RS equal to 0, then the this entire line, entire path will be short circuited because the impedance provided by the inductor and capacitor will become 0. So this is the 0 value at the resonance. So high current will flow. So that is the condition for the series resonance. So crystal at the series resonant frequency omega S will pass the maximum amount of current, and that frequency is 1 by root over LSCS. I hope that you have understood this one. Now, there is a parallel resonance frequencies also there for the crystal. We will now discuss this one, how the parallel resonance actually occurs. When the parallel resonance occurs, then this circuit element Cm actually comes into play when the parallel resonance actually occurs. Okay. So when the parallel resonance occurs, what happens? This circuit element Cm actually comes into play. In parallel resonance, what happens? So this is the capacitance Cm in parallel, and the inductor in this series LCR branch becomes an inductor. Okay. You know that in case of parallel resonance, you have a inductor L and C in parallel. So what happens in parallel, when the parallel resonance in the crystal occurs, this branch, this LCR branch, we have assumed R equal to 0. So this LC branch becomes an inductor, and this Cm becomes a parallel capacitor to that inductor. Then this parallel resonance actually occurs for the crystal. When this LC, series LC becomes an inductive, we know that the impedance of the inductor is J omega L, and the impedance of the capacitor is minus J by omega C. Okay.
Sir, someone is trying to joining.
Okay. Okay. So when the parallel resonance actually occurs, this series LCR circuit, this series LCR will become an equivalent inductance, and this capacitance Cm will be in parallel with that equivalent inductance. So this that is the condition for the parallel resonance. So in case of parallel resonance, when happens, this part of the circuit will become inductive. We have assumed that this Rs equal to 0. So forget about the Rs, because don't need to much worry about the series resistance. Usually it is very low. But this inductor, and this capacitor. So what is the impedance of this inductor? J omega L. What is the impedance of this capacitor? J by omega C. So this is the impedance of the inductor and impedance of the capacitor. But together, this inductor and capacitor together in series will become an equivalent inductance. When this will happen, if this omega L is larger than omega C, then this series LC will have this equivalent omega L minus 1 by C will become positive, then J will become positive. So that in that case, this series LC will become inductive. If the omega L is this omega L, this one is less than this omega C, then what will happen? This series impedance of the inductance and capacitance, will become minus J, because omega 1 by omega C is larger than omega L. So this series impedance, that means the total impedance of this series L and C, will become minus J if 1 by omega C is larger than omega L. Then this series LC will act as an equivalent capacitance. But if the series, if this acts as the equivalent capacitance, then there will be no resonance. To occur the parallel resonance, this series combination of LC should have a equivalent impedance, which is that of an inductor. So that is why this omega L should be larger than 1 by omega C, In that case, this J into omega L minus 1 by C becomes positive. And you know that positive J means you have an inductive impedance. Negative J means you have a capacitive impedance. So this is the reason why this will occur. So parallel resonance occurs when omega L should be larger than 1 by omega C. But you have the inductance and capacitance fixed for the crystal. But you have this control over this omega. So if you change the frequency of the source, then some range of the frequency will be there for which this omega L is larger than 1 by omega C. In that frequency range, this series LC will act as an equivalent inductor. Okay, then together with this parallel CM, it will resonate, and there will be a parallel resonant frequency. I hope that you have understood the concept that why this crystal has a parallel resonant frequency. Now, in case of parallel resonant frequency, what happened? You know the parallel resonance condition. So in case of parallel resonant frequency, what happens? You have this is the equivalent impedance of this series combination of L and C for the parallel resonant condition. So this is the equivalent impedance. You know that this impedance J into omega L minus 1 by omega C will become positive for the parallel resonance. So this series L and C will become inductive. This impedance, entire impedance J into omega L minus 1 by omega C becomes inductive because omega L is larger than 1 by omega C. So this J becomes positive, and you know that J omega L, if the J is positive, then the total impedance acts as a inductor. So this will act as an inductor when the omega L is larger than 1 by omega C. In that condition, in that frequency range, as this series combination of this LC becomes an equivalent inductor, will resonate with the parallel CM capacitor. So in that condition, this impedance should become equal to the impedance of the parallel capacitor. So what will be the impedance of the parallel capacitor? So impedance of the parallel capacitor is 1 by omega C M. So this is the impedance of the parallel capacitor. So this inductive impedance, equivalent inductive impedance in the series path of the crystal, and this impedance of the capacitor 1 by omega Cm should be equal because they are in parallel, and that will make the parallel resonance. Okay. So then what happens? We are considering only the magnitude, so magnitude part. So this J part I am cancelling here. So this magnitude of this omega L minus 1 by omega C, this will become equal to 1 by omega Cm. The magnitude part of the two impedance will be equal, then only the parallel resonance will occur. So from this equation, you can calculate the omega parallel, that means the resonant frequency, parallel resonant frequency at which the parallel resonance occurs. So in that condition, you have this omega, which is your parallel resonant frequency, should be equal to how much it will be if you calculate this one from this equation. Sorry, I have to. So if you calculate this one from this equation, so it will be omega P should be equal to 1 by root over L into 1 by C plus 1 by Cm. That C is Cs actually. So it will be like this. So this is your parallel resonant frequency. I hope that you can understand this one very easily from this discussion, that omega P is the parallel resonant frequency, which actually should be equal to, from this the equation above, you can solve for omega. It will be 1 by root over L. L means Ls into 1 by C. C means actually Cs actually. So this is actually Ls, and this is actually Cs. So Ls into 1 by Cs plus 1 by Cm. That is the formula for the parallel resonant frequency. I hope that you have understood that the crystal has two resonant frequencies. One is the series resonant frequency, which is omega S equal to 1 by root over Lc, and another is the parallel resonant frequency, that is omega P equal to 1 by root over Ls into 1 by Cs plus 1 by Cm. Have you understood this one? Two resonant frequencies of a crystal and the frequencies, the mathematical formulas are these two. Have you got this one? Have you understood this one? Is there any question? Though it is known to you because you have analyzed the series and parallel resonance in the AC analysis of the circuit. Is there any question?
Sir, omega greater than omega naught is a behave like a
Yeah.
omega
Series.
greater than omega naught. Behave
Omega
like
naught means series resonant frequency you are talking about. If the omega is greater than the series resonant frequency, then this inductor and capacitor will act as an inductor. Is that okay? Is that your question?
नो सर बिहेवियर सर कैसा होगा ये पूछ रहे हैं सर उसका इंडक्टिव होगा या कैपेसिटिव होगा ये बिहेवियर पूछ रहे हैं सर
हाँ वही अभी हम ग्राफ में समझाएंगे ठीक है ना ये है इक्वेशन टू कैलकुलेट दिस इज द इक्वेशन टू कैलकुलेट the resonant frequencies of series resonant and parallel resonant frequency. Now we will discuss that when this LC becomes inductive and capacitive and where is the frequency of oscillation, resonant frequency will in a graphical manner. Okay, we will now discuss this one in a graphical manner. I hope that you can understand, you will get this one, your question from this discussion. So we now consider a graphical analysis that will makes you that will give you some idea how this when this becomes a inductive, when this becomes a capacitive. So we have a curve. In this direction we have some impedance. Along the y-axis we have impedance, and along the x-axis we have the frequency. Okay, so this is now we will analyze. So this is your zero. So origin, this point is your origin, this one. Now you see, we now consider, we have set this Rs equal to 0. Forget about this Rs. We have set this Rs equal to 0. So we neglect this Rs into the circuit because usually the Rs equal to 0. So this is your, sorry. So this is your 0. Rs equal to 0. Forget about Rs. As if the effect of Rs we are actually neglecting, because it does not take part in the AC operation, because the resistance is just to provide some resistance to the circuit. Any current DC or AC, you have same amount of resistances and it will only produce some joule loss. It does not deals with the frequency, it does not deals with the phase of the circuit or the impedance of the circuit. So it is actually a frequency insensitive element. So that is why we are actually neglecting the effect of Rs in this circuit. We only focus this Ls and Cs. So Ls, first we consider this inductor Ls. Okay, so we consider this inductor Ls, that this one. What is the nature of this Ls? We will now understand. Your friend has asked a question that when it will become inductive, when it will become capacitive. This Ls inductance has an impedance. What will be the impedance of this inductance? It will be, you know that this impedance of this inductor is omega into Ls. So this is the impedance of this inductor. Okay. Now this omega Ls, if you plot this impedance into this curve, so it will become a straight line like this one. So it will become a straight line. This straight line is responsible. This straight line is responsible for this omega into Ls. Agreed? There is no doubt, because your omega is the x-axis and impedance in the y-axis. So omega Ls should be a straight line. It is a y equal to mx equation, straight line equation. So this impedance of this omega inductor should be this straight line. Now, what is the impedance of this capacitor? If you plot the impedance of the capacitor, then what will happen? So impedance of the capacitor means this one. So what is the impedance of the capacitor? You know that impedance of the capacitor is, what is that? Is J by omega C minus J by omega C. So it is actually minus impedance of the capacitor is minus J by omega into C. So this is the impedance of this capacitor. Okay. So you are actually putting the impedance in this graph. So this y-axis, you have the J is plus. For this y-axis, you have the J equal to plus. That means in the when the y-axis is plus, you definitely J is plus. That means J omega Ls. That means that will be inductive. And when you in the negative y-axis, that means J is negative. That means definitely this portion below 0, the y-axis will be the capacitive. So minus J by omega C impedance you should draw from this negative side. Okay. But if you set omega equal to 0 into this equation, into these expressions of the capacitor impedance, if you put omega equal to 0, that means you are at the finding the capacitive impedance at the origin. If you set omega equal to 0 in the denominator, it will become infinite. So capacitive impedance actually infinite when omega equal to 0, and as you gradually increase this omega, the value of this impedance gradually fall down from the infinity towards 0. If you put omega equal to infinite, then it will becomes 0. So it starts from the negative infinity, gradually approaching the positive, approaching towards the 0 when you increase the omega. So the curve will be like this. The curve of the capacitive impedance will be like this. So this will be the curve for the capacitive impedance. Have you understood this one? This impedance curve is for this expression. Okay. It will be much more smoother than what I have drawn here. It will be much more smoother. So what we are discussing first, the impedance of the inductor, it will be straight line like this one. And if we are discussing the impedance of the capacitor minus J by omega C, it will be this one. So this will be the this line is for the capacitive impedance. Okay. So this is the impedance plot of the inductor and capacitor. But the total impedance, forget about RS. The total impedance of the inductor and capacitor in series. What will be the total impedance of the inductor and capacitor in series? It is J into omega Ls, this part, J into omega Ls, plus minus J by omega C, this one. Is not it? So this is the total impedance of this inductor and capacitor. Okay. But in the graph, you have to add these two curves because they are in series. So inductor impedance is J omega Ls. In series with the capacitor, that means the impedance is minus J by omega C. When inductor and capacitor are in series, these two impedance magnitude J omega Ls minus J by omega C should be added. So the impedance of the inductor is this red line, straight line, and the impedance of the capacitor in the curve is this green line. You should add these two curves to get the equivalent impedance. Are we agreed? Have we agreed this one?
Yes, sir.
Then very carefully you just notice here that what is actually happening here. I need to choose a different color. Okay, I choose this one. Oh, okay. So you now see when you add these two impedance of the inductor and capacitor, so you have to add these two curve. Suppose at this point, I hope that you can see the marking. At this frequency, which is I have marked here, at this frequency, what will be the total impedance from this curve? At this frequency, at that frequency, the impedance of the inductor is this ordinate. Is not it? Agreed? At that frequency, the impedance of this inductor is this ordinate, and the impedance of this capacitor is this ordinate at that frequency. So this is the impedance of the inductor and this is the impedance of the capacitor. So when you add the two impedances to get the equivalent impedance, so you see the capacitive impedance is larger. That means the negative impedance, which is the capacitive impedance, is larger than the inductive impedance, which is in the positive side. So the total impedance is minus, should be minus. You are adding these two impedances, means you are adding the two ordinates. So minus ordinate is larger, this down arrow is larger magnitude, and the up arrow, which is the impedance of the inductor, is small. So the total impedance is this down arrow magnitude plus the up arrow magnitude should be negative, because the down arrow has a larger length that actually ordinate responsible for the capacitor in impedance. So at that frequency, you definitely have a negative total impedance should be negative. That means you should have a capacitive impedance at that frequency. So now you can understand that at each and every point, if you consider this curve, then you can understand when this LC will acts as a capacitor, acts as a equivalent inductor. For example, if you take this frequency at this point, what will happen? You see that now at this point the inductor has an impedance, this one. So this is the arrow, the length actually is the ordinate that actually gives you the magnitude of the inductor impedance. So this one, okay. Now this down, if you at that frequency, if you draw the capacitive, if you try to find the capacitive impedance, so this will be this one. Sorry, so this will be this one. So this is the capacitive impedance. So when you try to find the equivalent impedance, that means the series combinations of L and C, so then you have to add this upper arrow magnitude and the down arrow magnitude, but the down arrow is negative. So you see that the upper arrow is larger than the down arrow. So the total impedance, the summation of these two ordinate, will definitely be positive because the inductive impedance is larger at that frequency. So this curve actually shows you that when these series combinations of LS and CS will become inductive and when this will become capacitive. When the resonance will occur? The resonance will occur in this circuit. The resonance will occur in this circuit. When the resonance will occur? When this inductive impedance becomes equal to the capacitive impedance, so the total impedance becomes 0. So this actually at this point, so at this point you find that at this point, somewhere at this point, if you draw the ordinate, so the inductive impedance is this much. And also you see that in the downward, you have the capacitive impedance, which is also same at that point. So at this frequency, you have the inductive impedance as well as the capacitive impedance are same. So the summation total impedance of this inductor and capacitor in series will become 0. So at that frequency, this happens, and that is the resonant frequency for the series resonance. So this frequency gives you actually the series resonant frequency. Have you understood this impedance curve? And someone has asked the question that when it will become inductive, when it will become capacitive, and when the resonance actually occurs. Have you got your answer? Or have everybody has understood this curve and the resonance phenomena? Is there any question?
No, sir. No, sir.
Have you understood this one? Everybody has understood this one? Is anybody has any question?
सर इसमें लैगिंग और लीडिंग का क्या इफ मतलब है?
Lagging matlab? We are not considering the phase actually. We are actually considering the impedance. Okay. If you consider the inductor, definitely it is multiplied by J. Is not it? It is the impedance will be J omega L. Okay. So if you have an inductor, so this is the impedance, and you know that J means plus 90 degree. If you multiply some real quantity with J, then it will be 90 degree plus. So inductor is 90 degree phase shifted with respect to the zero phase shift, positive 90 degree. If you have a capacitor, then what will happen? Minus, okay, J by omega C. So if you have a capacitor, then it is minus J. Minus J means you are in the negative direction. So you have, so it will be 90 degree in the negative direction. So you have minus 90 degree. If you multiply by J plus J, then it will be plus 90 degree. So it will be plus 90 degree phase shifted. So this is, in this way you can understand the phase shift of the inductor and capacitor. Actually, the phase shift is not discussed here. The angle, the combination of the angle will be some inductive or capacitive. That means you have the positive phase shift. Below resonant frequency, you see that this is the resonant frequency. Okay, this is the resonant frequency where the inductive impedance and the capacitive impedance are the same. Total impedance equal to 0. So you have zero phase shift at that point. If you go in the left hand side, if you decrease the frequency, then it will become capacitive, because this arrow, the magnitude of the capacitor impedance becomes larger than the inductor impedance. So it will become definitely the equivalent capacitance, equivalent impedance will be minus J. So it is in the negative 90 degree region, phase lag. If you go in this direction, what happens? This arrow has a larger magnitude than the capacitor impedance arrow. So it will definitely, the equivalent impedance will definitely be J, positive J. That means in this side, you are actually leading. The phase shift is 90 degree. Positive J will come. So in this way, you can consider also the phase lag, phase leak that you have asked with this one. So this is nothing but that is nothing something you can understand, but you cannot understand. But from this discussion, you can also understand that the inductor has a phase lead of 90 degree, capacitor has a phase lag of 90 degree, that sort of thing. I hope that you have understood this. So this is the frequency where the resonance actually occurs, and this is your series resonant frequency. Okay. Below the series resonant frequency, the series combination of inductor and capacitor will become capacitor, because the capacitor impedance is larger. So it will become equivalent combination will become capacitive. Above the series resonant frequency, you see that this arrow is larger, the inductive impedance is larger than the capacitive impedance, this one. So above the series resonant frequency, this equivalent L and C is inductive. Now you can say the parallel resonance occur, certainly it will occur above the omega S series resonant frequency, because above omega S, the equivalent L and C will become an equivalent inductor, then it will resonate with this parallel capacitor. So parallel resonant frequency will be definitely above omega S, which is the series resonant frequency, because above the series resonant frequency, this LS and CS equivalent impedance is an inductive impedance, and that then it will resonate with the parallel mounting capacitor CM. So parallel resonant frequency, or the parallel resonance occurs larger than omega S, series resonant frequency. Hope that this you have understood. And so this is the series resonant and the parallel resonant frequencies. Have you understood this one? Or is there any question you can ask me? So this point is the series resonance, where the impedance of the inductor and the impedance of the capacitor are same. So this point is the series resonant frequency. The equivalent impedance, that is the summation of this omega ls, this one, summation of this omega ls and the summation of this omega 1 by omega c, if you add these two curve, then that will be the equivalent impedance of this LC series combination. And it will be something like this. It will look like this if you add this one. So it will look like this one, that so it will be capacitive below series resonant frequency, and above series resonant frequency it will become inductive. So this purple curve is the equivalent impedance of this series of this L and C. So this purple curve is the equivalent impedance of this L and C together in series. And this point is the series resonant frequency, where you see that the total impedance becomes 0 at the series resonant frequency. Below, so this is your series resonant frequency. Below this resonant frequency, in this side, you see the impedance is actually capacitive. And above this resonant frequency, you see the impedance is inductive, because it becomes positive, the curve in the positive direction. And below this resonant frequency, this purple curve is the negative direction. So below this resonant frequency, you have the capacity, you have the capacitive total impedance, equivalent impedance is capacitive. Above this resonant frequency, you have this inductive. So when now the parallel resonance occurs, when this L and C equivalent will become inductive, that means above the omega s, you have the parallel resonant frequency. This parallel resonant frequency occur at a point here, above the series resonant frequency, here. So this is the parallel resonant frequency, and the impedance of this capacitor Cm, if you plot this impedance of this capacitor, it will be again be minus J by omega into Cm. So this impedance, if you plot this impedance into this curve, it will be something like this. Again, you have a capacitor impedance, so it will be something similar to that capacitor. Earlier, we have drawn the capacitor impedance. So this is the capacitive impedance of Cm, this mounting capacitor Cm. And at this point, you have the parallel resonant frequency. So this is the parallel resonant frequency, this point, where this junction point, where you see at the parallel resonant frequency, you have the impedance, you see the impedance becomes infinite. At the parallel resonant frequency, you see that the impedance actually infinite at the parallel, because you know that when the parallel resonance occurs, the impedance across the parallel LC circuit becomes very large, current becomes minimum. So this is the parallel resonant frequency, and this is the series resonant frequency. So parallel resonant frequency is slightly higher than series resonant frequency. Okay. And one more point is that this capacitor Cm is very, very larger than this series capacitor Cs. As the capacitor Cm, mounting capacitor, is very larger than the series capacitor of the crystal Cs. So what happens? These two frequencies, the formula will become almost same, 1 by root over LC. Because in case of parallel resonant frequency, what you have seen in case of parallel resonant frequency, what is the formula you have seen? In case of parallel resonant frequency, it is L into 1 by Cs plus 1 by Cm. So, sorry, it is M. Okay. So this is the parallel resonant frequency. And what was the series resonant frequency? It is 1 by root over LC. But the CM is very, very large. If the CM is very, very large, this 1 by CM will be cancelled out. So the parallel resonant frequency actually becomes 1 by LCS, which is same as that of the series resonant frequency 1 by omega, 1 by root over LC. So due to this mounting capacitor is very large, what happens? This parallel resonant frequency and series resonant frequency are very close. They not exactly equal, but they are very close. And the parallel resonant frequency should be slightly higher than the series resonant frequency, because above the series resonant frequency, this LC series combination becomes an equivalent inductor. I hope that you have understood this equivalent circuit of this crystal. Still, if you have any question, you can ask me. Is there any question? Have you any question?
No, sir.
Have you understood, got this one? First, you need to understand this equivalent circuit, why there are two resonant frequencies, what will be the formula, when this series combination of LC becomes inductive, when this series combination of LC becomes capacitive, when parallel resonance occurs, what are the formulas? Then you can connect this crystal in a crystal oscillator circuit in a precise manner. Still, if you have any question, any other question, this discussion is not given into this book, but you can easily understand from this whatever I have just discussed, and you can find in some other book, or you can get it from this discussion. Is there any question? Is there any question is there? Doubt is there?
No, sir. No, sir.
If there is no doubt, then what is the conclusion is that? What is the conclusion? This is the crystal. Sorry. Okay, so this is the crystal. It has this equivalent circuit. This capacitor is for the mounting electrode, and this is the equivalent circuit for the crystal itself, series LCR circuit. There are two resonant frequencies. One is the series resonant frequency. I have said earlier that the series resonant frequency where the inductor j omega ls should be equal to minus 1 by j omega c. So that is the series resonant frequency where this series path becomes resistive. And there is also a parallel resonant frequency where this LC combination, equivalent LC impedance, will become an inductive, which happens slightly above the series resonant frequency I have shown in a graph. And in that the condition, when this series L and C becomes an equivalent inductor, it will resonate with this parallel mounting capacitor CM. Then you will find a parallel resonant frequency, and so the parallel resonant frequency is slightly higher than the series resonant frequency. Okay, but as the CM is very, very high than the CS, mounting capacitor is usually very high with the series capacitor CS. So this parallel resonant frequency or series resonant frequency, they are almost merging together. Okay, so this is the in this way this circuit, equivalent circuit of the crystal, actually behave. As the crystal has two equivalent circuit, two mode of resonance, one is the series resonant, another is the parallel resonant. So you can we are using this crystal as a electrical component, circuit component in the beta network. Is that okay? Because beta network actually contains the circuit parameters, which actually has a capacitor, inductor, that actually determines the frequency of the oscillator. So this crystal is connected, always should be connected in the beta network to determine the frequency. And this, depending on these two modes of the crystal, one is the series resonant mode, another is the parallel resonant mode. You have two different type of crystals, a crystal oscillator. One is the series resonant crystal oscillator, where the crystal is connected in series. Another is the parallel resonant crystal oscillator, where the crystal is connected in parallel, such that the parallel resonance may occur. So depending on these two modes of the crystal, you have two different crystal oscillator circuits. You can see from this figure, the rest of the circuit is similar, and the rest of the circuit is similar because you are already familiar with the Colpitts oscillator. So you have an amplifier and the beta network. In place of beta network, you have connecting a crystal. So first we will discuss the familiar circuit to you because you have learned the Colpitts oscillator circuit. So this circuit, the second circuit, this one, you just see this second circuit, okay, first, where the crystal you see that, so this circuit is same. You have an amplifier, so this is an amplifier, which is a C amplifier, small signal amplifier. You can recognize this. This is the amplifier A. In case of a Colpitts oscillator circuit, the same circuit, same amplifier was there. Only the beta network, we have a change. In case Colpitts oscillator circuit, you have the beta network has an inductor here. In the Colpitts oscillator circuit, you can remember that there are two capacitors C1 and C2. They are connected in the ground junction, connected, and across these two series C1 and C2, we had an inductor. Now, that inductor of the Colpitts oscillator is replaced by the crystal. Then it will become a crystal oscillator. Okay, so that is the simple. And this actually, so this circuit is nothing more new to you, because it is the modification of the crystal oscillator, a Colpitts oscillator circuit, where in the Colpitts oscillator circuit there was an inductor here. Now you have replaced the inductor by a crystal. That's all. Now, so everything is same. What is the condition for the sustained oscillation, A, beta, everything that is same. And loop phase shift condition is also same, just like the Colpitts oscillator. But the frequency of this circuit will be solely determined by this crystal. Frequency of this circuit will be solely determined by this crystal. Whatever is the frequency of this crystal, that is the resonant frequency of this crystal, that will be the frequency of the output oscillation. So at the output, you will find some AC signal which has a frequency, and that actually solely will be determined by the crystal. And you know that the crystal has a two resonant frequencies. One is the series resonant frequency, another is the parallel resonant frequency. Either one is coming here, either series or parallel, but there is very slight difference between the series parallel, but still that frequency, one of the frequency will come to this, that will be the output or signal frequency. Now in this figure, you just see that the connection of the crystal now. So you see that here in this figure, the crystal is in the parallel mode in this figure. So the crystal here connected. So the crystal, sorry. Okay, so the crystal here connected is in the parallel mode because it is parallel to this C1 and C2. So crystal connected here, it is parallelly connected to the circuit. It is parallelly connected to C1 and C2, so it is parallelly connected. So as it is parallelly connected, so in this mode, the crystal will oscillate, crystal will resonate in a parallel resonant, in the parallel resonant frequency, and that parallel resonant frequency will be the oscillation frequency. So this is the parallel resonant mode of the crystal. Okay. And in this circuit, you see that the first one, this circuit, left-hand circuit, in this circuit, you see you have the same type of circuit. That is you have the amplifier. This one is the amplifier. You know that this is the amplifier A, C amplifier A. Okay. And but the beta network is slightly different here. This circuit, beta network is slightly different. Beta network only contains, what is the beta network actually containing here? The beta network actually containing a crystal, in series with a capacitor CC. So this is the beta. This entire thing is the beta network, which is connected between the output of the amplifier, and it is fed back to the input side of the amplifier by this way. So here the connection of this beta network is slightly different, and in this case you see that the crystal is in series with this capacitor CC. So that is why this crystal in this circuit should resonate with the series resonant frequency, because the series is connected in series with the capacitor. So the it is in the series path. Okay, that is why this, as the series crystal is connected in series, so the crystal in this circuit will perform in the series resonant mode, and the oscillation of the frequency here at the output of this oscillator, the oscillation frequency will be the series resonant frequency. So this will be the oscillator frequency will be series resonant frequency here, and in this mode, the second one, the oscillation frequency here will be the parallel resonant frequency, because the crystal here is in the parallel resonant mode. So that will be the frequency. So crystal will resonating the parallel resonant mode. So the parallel resonant frequency will be the oscillation frequency. That is why this signal will have a parallel resonant frequency omega p. And in the first one, this one, the crystal actually is in the series resonant mode, so it will have the oscillation frequency will have a series resonant frequency. So this is the only difference, because you are putting the crystal in the series path or in the parallel path. Depending on that, the crystal resonance mode will change. In the series path, if you connect the crystal in the series path, the crystal will resonate in the series resonant mode, and the output oscillation will have the series resonant frequency omega s, and you know the formula. What is the series resonant frequency? 1 by root over LC. If you connect the crystal in the parallel path, connect it in a parallel way, parallel path, the electrical path, then the crystal will be operate in the parallel resonant mode, and the output oscillation will have a parallel resonant frequency, and you know the parallel resonant frequency 1 by root over L into 1 by CS plus 1 by CM. So these are the two different modes of the crystal. Depending on the connections of the crystal, how you connect in the beta network, you have the parallel resonant crystal oscillator, or you have the series resonant crystal oscillator. Okay, but either way you connect, because there is hardly any difference between the parallel resonance frequency and the series resonant frequency of the crystal. So the more or less the oscillation frequency will be almost same, almost, because the mounting capacitor CM has a large value. One more point too, that this series capacitor here, it is this one. So this series capacitor here, you can see, is connected in the series path of the crystal here. This capacitor is a variable capacitor. So you can adjust the frequency slightly with this capacitor if you have to tune the circuit. So that's all, because this CC can also have a tuning capacity that actually has a tuning capacity. You can set the capacitor, tune the capacitor close to the series resonant frequency, then the output of the oscillation will become a series resonant frequency, and you will get the signal. I hope that you have understood the crystal oscillator. Why we are using the crystal? Because crystal has a very high quality factor, and due to the high quality factor, the frequency chosen by the crystal will be very narrow frequency. A single frequency will be chosen. That is why the crystal oscillator only produces very fixed frequency at the output. It will not change by any circuit parameters, by temperature or by any other circuit parameters. But it is still, due to the high quality factor, the beta network becomes a very high Q circuit. So that will only select a particular frequency. That is why the output of the crystal oscillator becomes very stable and fixed to a constant value. It does not change with the either the temperature has changed or the supply voltage has changed. So that is why the crystal oscillator circuit is very stable circuit. It will generate the very stable frequency, and the frequency of oscillation is fixed to a particular value for a long duration of time. So that is why these crystal oscillators are used in the application, and FM also actually uses the crystal oscillator. One more point I just to add to you: if you buy a crystal in the market, you will find that crystal in that encapsulated version I have shown in the figure, where in the body of that encapsulation you will find it is 100 megahertz, 20 100 kilohertz, or 1 megahertz, 2 megahertz, or 10 megahertz. So this sort of how much is the oscillator resonant frequency of the crystal that have been coded, and if you connect into the circuit, exactly that frequency will be you will find at the output. If you have a 1 megahertz crystal, if you connect it in the tank circuit here, then exactly at the output, when you measure the output, you will find exactly 1 megahertz. So this is the crystal oscillator. That is why the crystal oscillator is preferred, because it is a very, it will generate almost a very stable frequency and a very particular frequency, and that is the resonant frequency of the crystal. I hope that if I understood the crystal oscillator. Is there any question? Have you understood this, everything what I have said? Have you understood this one? This discussion, have you got it? Is there any question? Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So many have left. Is there any class after this one, or lab class? I don't know, but whatever. If you have any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, I conclude here. Okay. This is the today I have finished the oscillator chapter. Next day we will discuss another chapter, possibly the high frequency model of the transistor, where I will show you that what are the circuit parameters actually responsible for the transistor. That means we will extract an equivalent circuit of the electrical circuit of the transistor, and we will analyze the transistor to understand how the transistor actually behave. So we will discuss the hybrid pi model of the transistor. Next new chapter. Is there any question? If you don't have any questions, so today we conclude here. Okay. Okay. So you just keep track the attendance records. Okay. And when your examination schedule have been published. Okay, I need some few more classes. I will arrange it. This high frequency model, and next another chapter I have to finish. Okay, if possible, because this is required. High frequency model and the timer chapters, that means the nonlinear application of the op-amp, as well as the power supply chapter. This all you require you need to know. Okay, today we conclude here. Okay.